What's going on YouTube? We're back at it for another video, and today we're going to be doing the Deeproot Depths Guide. Now, if you haven't gotten to this location, don't know how to get there, you're going to need to head over to my CO for a River Guide video. I'll have that link down in the description. But we're going to be starting off at the Great Waterfall Crest. We got a couple of legendary items in here, including a legendary set of armor. It's going to be perfect for any melee character. I'll be using that from now on. But on that note, let's get straight into the guide. From the first Lost Grace location, we'll just be heading over to the left. We're going to be fighting one of those Erdtree bosses. I can't remember the name of them, but technically it's a mini boss. We will be getting an item out of this guy, but it just doesn't show the health bar down at the bottom for whatever reason. You'll still be able to see it above him, kind of like a regular enemy type, but it shouldn't take too long to take him down. Generally, I'd say it's best to do this on horseback, but there will be one moment, boom, right there, where I get knocked off of it. Now you notice it gets a bit comical here where he's basically just hammering me into the ground for a few hits. Not too hard to avoid this guy's attacks, and not too much health to him, but as you can see right now, I'm just getting pulverized into the ground by that hammer, but very simple to kind of dodge these attacks. I'm just trying to get it over with as fast as possible, and he just keeps catching me in that moment. But boom, we've finished him off right there. We'll get a new colossal weapon out of that guy. Then from this point, we'll head over to the right. Now, there's going to be a scarab over here, and on our left are going to be some bigger boy ants. They've got like that shielded head. If you've ever faced those before, you definitely want to move away from them. They'll be able to knock you over pretty quickly. But over on our left, we're going to have another one of those gloveworts. Now, to take out these ants, do avoid their spitting, or whatever it is. They spit some type of acid or venom, but you want to get behind these types of ants since you can't really hit them in the face. Very similar to the pumpkin head. Can't exactly do that much damage to that armored head, I suppose. But from that point, we'll head over to the left, kind of get down on this, I believe it's just root system, not actually a fallen tree itself. But I believe this is the underside of the main Erdtree. But just down here, we'll have to jump over to a different root. Do be sure to make that jump, or just be aware that that is coming up. But up here on the left, we're going to be dealing with a couple of ants. Nothing really over here other than a little bit of crafting material. Who knows, you may need it. But from this point, after we take out these ants, we'll be heading over back into the main area where there'll be a bunch of these flying type ants. Now with these guys, you want to constantly keep moving. You don't really want to stick on one all too much, because if they cluster around you, can be problematic and very deadly, but at the same time, they will be spitting that acid. And I'll tell you right now, that acid can one-shot you. Even with the health bar I have right now, I've gotten one-shot by that acid. So constantly keep moving around them, keep doing that one tag as you're rolling by, and do avoid that acid spit. Can't believe that's a one-shotter, but after we finally finish off these three, we've got 3 pieces of loot over here. And shouldn't be too hard, can be a bit irritating when they're floating in the air, but lucky enough they do kind of land here and there. But we'll have a smithing stone right here, some type of consumable on this one, and I believe another gold rune. Now from this location, also have a glowwort over here on the right. But we'll be moving over. Now there'll be some moments in this footage where it's kind of like I'm moving over to edges, kind of looking around. Since this place kind of blends in together, I've had to leave in a lot of that footage and kind of do less of those cuts. But over here on the left, we're going to have our first Lost Grace beyond the first one itself. Now from this point, goodness, I should have taken this one out. But we'll talk to the old woman over here. But like I was saying before, there'll be a couple of moments where I just didn't make as many cuts with this one. That way you could kind of keep following along as best as possible without getting lost out here. It can happen very easily. And while I was trying to make some of those cuts, even I was looking at the footage like, yeah, I've got to leave in that one moment where I went over to the right or left in order for you to actually follow along and know where to go. But over here on this right side, we're going to have another one of those gold runes. And then we're going to be heading over to the right from here. Believe there'll be another branch system over here that we'll need to jump up on top of. And once we get over here, you'll notice I was going the right way, and then all of a sudden try to jump over here. We'll have to go underneath this branch and then up on top of here. I believe it's another gold rune. That's going to be a smithing stone. From this point, we'll take a right as soon as we get over here. And then we'll be kind of following along the right wall from up here. Now, once we jump on top of this branch, head over to the left. Don't go to the right. On the right, it's basically just going to be a trap. It's just going to be some of those wasps or bees, or not bees. What am I talking about? It's ants. But we'll head over to the right from, or left from where you're going. And over here, there's going to be a very deadly room. We're going to have a broken down building over here. Now, it's going to have these lizard-type enemies. Make sure, let me clarify this. You want to immediately just kind of aggro them and then run away, because the black cloud that they spit out, that's pretty much the only thing they do. They don't really attack you. If you stay in that black cloud for too long and get that infection bar all the way up, it's an instant death. Immediately, that blight is as deadly as can be, and there's more than a few of these guys, so you're really going to have to play in this open area, and you really want to clear them out, because having that build up on that gas, or them constantly jumping at you and just kind of spraying around you, can be very hazardous. But inside of that broken down building, we'll have a rune arc and a smithing stone. We'll start heading out a bit to the right from here, kind of keep it along that right wall, and there'll be another glow board over here on the right. Now we'll keep going forward. Again, some of those moments where I probably could have cut that one. But over here on the left, there'll be a couple of those fireflies if you need some of those for crafting. And then we'll just keep heading along this right wall. Now, anytime you see one of those lizards, you really do want to take them out. They can follow you for a little bit of a distance, but it's just better to get rid of them now instead of having to deal with the possibility of them showing up a little bit later when you may be dealing with another enemy type in that moment. Now, over here on our right is going to be another glow wart. Then we'll be heading over to the left, take out a couple of ants, get some more of that crafting material. Always going to need more of that for the future, who knows. But from this point, we'll have more of those lizards kind of popping out here and there. There's quite a few of them in this area. But just in front of us, we're going to start heading over to our next Lost Grace location. Just about here. Now, this is going to be the main one that we're going to use for pretty much the rest of this guide itself. Now, heading over to the right here, we're going to have another one of those cemeteries full of those gold runes and a couple of other things. We've got another glow board over there. I believe some smithing stones as well. Can't remember if there was more than a few smithing stones out here. But from this point, we'll head out straight past the Lost Grace itself. Be able to take out one of those knights fairly quickly. As long as you get the jump on him, just take his horse out pretty quickly, you should be able to eat away at him. Now, do be noted that we need to jump over onto the buildings on our left. We've essentially got one of these sitting turrets over here. It can't move, so as soon as we get behind it, we'll be able to take it out with no problem. Get a good bit of runes off of it, and it's going to be another golden rune right here. We'll head further up this branch, and there's going to be more of those sitting turrets up in these buildings over here. So do be aware of that before heading in. We're going to need to jump off over to the left from here and then head directly left. We'll have another smithing stone, I believe. Yep. And then we'll turn around. We'll head straight back up this branch route, whatever you'd like to call it. Now, we'll want to take out this turret guy because we will be heading over to the right here in a moment. But right after we finish him off, we'll be heading over to the left, and we'll be jumping down on this building over here. Now, jumping off of this building, you notice there's a little wind tunnel over here. You want to jump as soon as you get to the edge of this building and not try to just walk off onto it like I did. It's kind of embarrassing. Happened more than a few times. And I hate to admit it, but you do want to jump as close as possible to that whirlwind circle right there. Now, we'll be kind of heading back over to the Lost Grace from this location. And then heading back over onto those branches or roots, whichever you'd like to call it. Do keep taking these out. There's a good bit of runes to be made out of just hacking those guys up a couple of times. You could arguably farm it more than a few times just sitting at the Lost Grace. They're very easy to hit. You can run by their fire very easily. If you need a couple of levels, that would be the perfect way to. But over here on the left is going to be another staff, I believe. Not exactly sure how great it is. I noticed it had a decent critical on it. Not exactly sure how beneficial that is for sorcerers, but do let me know if it's something that's worthwhile. This is my second playthrough. I'll be trying to go for a caster type. But from that point, we'll head it down, and then we're going to start going up the right tree. We're going to have another gold rune over here. You kind of want to grab that one as you're going. That way you don't get locked in with some of that fire. We'll jump over onto this left branch right here, and then jump up to the top turret on top of this building. We'll take him out. And we'll also have, can't remember what it was, another one of those butterflies, I believe. Now from this location, we'll kind of head back down. We'll get to the lower portion of this building, take out this other turret. Almost saying tourist out here. But from this location, we'll drop down to this other branch, drop down to the building below us. Now, I know it's a bit much right here, but we'll jump over to this branch. It's a method to the madness here. And there's going to be a scarab in front of us over here on the right. We'll take him down, get another one of those abilities. And then we're going to have some more of those lizards. Take them out as quick as possible. And then after we've taken out these lizards, there's going to be more than a few of them right here. It's almost probably half the amount, or yeah, about half the amount that we saw in that other broken down building. But from here, we'll go to this broken down building, and in this building, you want to charge in immediately. It's going to be one of those sitting turrets. You want to get behind that as quick as possible. And then we'll have another Ash of War ability from this. And then we'll head directly out straight to this, can't even remember what to call it. I want to say gondola or gondola. Could be wrong. Terminology could be wrong. Do be mindful that is a sitting turret right there. I almost walked past it thinking it was just a bit of furniture out there, or another piece of a building furniture. But we'll have that gold rune over there, and then we'll come back this way. Now, as we're coming over this way, I feel like I slowed this down a bit much. There's going to be a glowwort in this bush on the right. I completely missed it. Went back and grabbed it later, but from this point, we'll go back over to the Nameless Eternal City, I believe that's the name of it, to that location, the same waypoint that I said that was going to be the main one that we'll be using. And from this point, we'll be heading over into the right portion, the one that's kind of sunken down. We'll be going along the left wall over here. Be a couple of crafting material here and there. It's always good to kind of pick those up as you go, but there's going to be another glowwort over here on the left. From this point, we'll kind of head over to the right after I've done my little scenic route. And inside this building, we're going to have 2 enemies and a knight in the back. Should be fairly easy to take down, and we'll have another Somber smithing stone. I believe this one's going to be 7. I know in the last video I messed up, or one of those videos where it was a 2 instead of a 7. Hard to see sometimes on this Adobe Player window. Much smaller on this 24-inch screen. But up on top of this building, again, do jump towards the wind tunnel. Should almost call myself Tim the Tatman with how many times I've died to fall damage at this point. And another one of those moments to really showcase that you want to go for directly on that wind tunnel. It is painstaking. But from the point that we jump down on that wind tunnel, we'll be using it again to go over to the left here. We've got another one of these Crucible Knight types, and after we kill this enemy, we're going to get his full suit of armor, legendary suit of armor, and his weapon as well. Pretty unique, and it is some solid armor, I'll give it that. Any melee players out there, this is going to be one of those armors you're going to want to rock until the end of the game, or until we find something better. But fairly simple to take this guy down. He's very similar to the Crucible Knight, but we can get some more damage in a lot easier considering he doesn't have that shield. Now, he does have a different ability where he can kind of like charge you with his left hand and kind of stick it in you and pull you up. You really want to avoid that one. Does quite a bit of damage, but we'll get a weapon off of him. Another type of halberd, or it's a great spear actually. Now on the right, before going into the tree, we're going to have another glowwort. Another one of those moments I probably could have just cut this one out, but we'll go inside the tree, and over here inside of this chest, we're going to get that full set of armor. Now I'm going to be rocking this until I find something better, but the poise, the damage resistance and from strikes and everything. Now you will need a good bit of endurance to wear this full set of armor. You'll need to stack it up a bit. I can't remember exactly how many points I put into it, but I did have to put in, I believe, 2 more points from the point I was at in order to actually wear the legs, I believe, as well, or the the gloves, but it's some solid armor right there for a melee class. Now over on the left, we're going to have another glowwort, and on our right, going to be the golden rune. And we'll start heading up on one of these root systems. Now there's going to be another scarab up here. Take that down, grab up another ability. Will be a few more of those lizards. Very irritating. But we'll get oh, that's right. We'll be getting a somber smithing stone from that one, level 7 as well. Now do avoid that gas at all costs. I've died to this many times, and later on you'll come into an area called the Lake of Rot. These guys are going to be excruciatingly painful in one moment when trying to take down a boss. You'll see that coming up in a guide soon enough. But from that point, we'll keep heading down this way. Negative. We'll be doubling back. And then there'll be a knight down on our right. We want to take him out. He will follow you down if you do fall down as well. So do make note of that. Should be easy to take down. But from that point, we're going to be jumping back on top of it, moving over to this right tree system. Going to be a few more of those lizards. And we'll jump over to the right, get on top of this building. You should be able to knock that knight off pretty easily, not have to deal with him. And we'll have another smithing stone over here. Now from this point, we'll need to jump back onto the branch that we just jumped off of. And then start heading right as soon as we get down this branch. Or root. Goodness, I can't pick or choose. It just looks like branches to me. Now you can actually jump on this giant turtle. Now you can't open the door yet. This is what I was essentially trying to do. I thought it would be funny. Maybe I could get in. But from the point that we're on top of it, you can start hitting those skeletal things. Apparently that's how you damage it and make it sit down. So you'll just go around the sides of it, take these out, and then it'll just sit down, and you can duplicate some of those remembrances from inside of this. Now, lucky enough, I didn't die from this. I thought that was going to kill me. I was pretty close to a rage moment right there. But from that point, you can open the door. He'll just be sitting here for the rest of the game, essentially, and you can always come back to it if you need to duplicate any of those remembrances. But from this point, you'll need to actually get down on the ground in order to call the horse for whatever reason. We'll be heading over to the left. We'll need to go over to the right in order to jump up into this middle portion between these roots in order to get this, I believe, gold rune. Could be wrong. Yep, it's another somber smithing stone. Hard to remember some of these items that we pick up. But over from the right, we'll be heading into this building. Another somber smithing stone. A lot of them at level 7 in this area. So if you've been looking for that next upgrade up to 7, it's going to be the perfect spot to grab up a couple of those, especially if you're a dual wielder. But we'll be heading over to the right from this portion. Now, there's going to be a bear inside of here. If you've dealt with bears before, they can be very frustrating, very aggro. You know, it's one of those that just does not get staggered. And I'd almost say it's close to being worse than the knights in this game. But, you know, I kind of expect a giant bear to be as deadly as this. And he'll give you a good bear hug. You really do want to avoid that one. I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio from that one movie in that moment. I thought he was just going to keep gnawing at me. But if you do a summon in this area, it's going to be a whole lot easier. You'll be able to melt him fairly quickly. You'll get him staggered down to his knees because you'll be able to do enough damage with that clone of yours if you have the mimic one. But from that point, we'll be able to pick up some throwing knives, gold rune, and I believe another smithing stone. Another somber smithing stone, actually. But from that point, we'll start heading out from here, and I believe we'll go along the right edge. Correct. Yes. Now, we'll keep following this. Now, I thought there would be an item underneath here, or possibly something that would be a hidden wall. Would have been really cool if they added that in, but over on our right, it's going to be some of those electric shock arrows, I believe. And as we progress down through here, along the right side, there's going to be another summon ability over here on the right. We'll be able to pick that one up. And over on our left at this broken down tower building, I believe we'll have another somber smithing stone. Yep, another one. There's quite a bit in this area. Now we'll head back towards that Lost Graves location. Make sure that everybody can follow along. Probably could have just portaled there and left a little note, but we'll take a little extra long walk. But over here on the left side, you may have noticed it earlier in the video, it looked like I missed this, but we came back and grabbed it. We've got another smithing stone right there. Going along this left area, we're going to take a little bit of a different route. This is going to be another one of those moments where we're kind of just trying to make sure that you can see where we're going. But we'll essentially be heading back up on the branch system or the root system, taking down a couple of those enemies. And this time we'll be jumping off into onto a ledge that's going to lead us to a boss area. Now, after we've taken these out, we'll need to head back over to the left from where we're at right now, onto this right branch, go all the way up, and we're going to have another gold rune over here. Missed it the first time coming through. Then jump over to this branch, take that enemy, and then from this point, we'll be heading back over this branch. You'll notice there's a lost grace on our right. We'll be dropping down to there, grabbing that lost grace up. And then over on our left, we're going to have this, what looks like one of the Erdtrees. Just it looks like it has a boss in front of it. You'd think, well, this was going to be a boss moment where that thing's going to pull out from the tree, but instead we actually face off against multiple humanoid enemies. As soon as we get close enough, kind of goes into this Elden combat moment. Almost looks like one of those levels from Mortal Kombat. Now the first guy, he's pretty squishy. No worries at all as soon as you hit him, but he does have that ability like the knight from Rhea Lucaria before the boss fight. If you do hit him on the shield, he can parry you and then stab you in the chest. So if you don't have enough health, this could be one of those one-shot moments for you. So do be aware of that. Wait till he attacks, then roll in, get that attack in. But he's very squishy, so easy to take him down. Then we'll have another one spawn in the exact location. Now these guys will keep spawning in the exact location, so if you're a caster or a ranged person, you could arguably just stand at the very far edge and then just keep hitting them from there, as they'll just have to run to you from that moment. Should be pretty easy. Second guy is that melee magic type of guy. Not exactly the hardest. He is a bit squishy as well, but it does seem like he has a bit more armor than the first guy. You'll just have to avoid a couple of his abilities, avoid some of his attacks, but he doesn't have too much damage to him. Now, for the final form, now, the video gets a little bit choppy here. Had a bit of an issue with my upload when it came to the stream. So it won't be the smoothest video right here, but it'll smooth out here in a second. Transfer it over to a direct recording. But we'll have 3 different enemies here. This guy's going to be the tankiest out of all of them. Arguably the most aggro. He'll be pushing you, but since he's a fat boy, he's pretty slow. You'll be able to stagger him quite easy. Now the guy on the right has a little bit of armor to him, but not so much. He's still a bit squishy as well. And the third guy is just going to be the caster, so you already know that guy's just almost one shot from one hit, as long as you're a solid melee. Got decent weapon upgraded as well. But after we take these 3 out, the casters, he's got the ability that I forget the name of the boss, but the one from Rhea Lucaria, he's got that same laser beam attack, so you'll want to be able to dodge that one. I think it will do quite a bit of damage if you actually do get hit by it, but as long as you can avoid it, close in on him, should be fairly easy. Like I said, pretty darn squishy right there. Now one thing to be noted is if you do kill him, he still pops that kind of purple meteorite move. It will still hit you, so you kind of want to make sure that you have a little bit more health, because you'll notice right here, I killed him and it still hit me. If I had kept with that low health I just had, it probably would have killed me at the same time. Very frustrating. Now, I'm not exactly sure what we unlock from this. I tried to look for this in my inventory. Not exactly sure what it is. It may be a quest item or possibly something for crafting, but we'll get a lost grace right after that. I'll have to look into it a little bit more after this. But after that, we'll have a portal open up right here that's actually going to take us straight into the capital city itself. Now, you can explore from here if you'd like to. I've been through the capital very briefly. I'll be having a guide on this in the next couple of days, but it's going to be pretty lengthy right here. Might have to make this into 2 parts, since it is kind of almost like a maze. But from this point, we're just going to head straight back. No need to grab up another lost grave, since we have one right next to this portal. We can always just walk in from there, but if you'd like to explore it, by all means, jump straight into it if you'd like to. But from this point, going back to that boss fight area, We'll essentially be heading back through the doorway. Goodness, it's going to be another one of those moments. Probably could have cut this a little bit better. But I know more than a few people kind of get turned around sometimes when I do some of those edits. So it's another one of those moments where it's just kind of like, well, how's your day going, people? But right after that, instead of taking the left, we're actually going to take a right. We're going to be going back down that branch, trying to find some of those hidden walls. Didn't find pretty much any inside of this area in particular. But from this point, we'll grab our horse, take out some of those enemies, keep running up on top of there, make sure that we take that one out so it doesn't cause us any pain later on. Now I just jumped down to take this one down just because I just want those extra runes from it. But from this point, we'll head up onto this tallest root over here and then jump right down. Now in this area, we're going to have a couple of ants, and there's going to be a giant hole inside of here. We're going to be jumping down that in order to grab up another one of those Somber smithing stones. Now, goodness, why is it slow right now? But that's going to be the hole itself, but we'll be running back to the back left of this area. Take down that flying ant. Very irritating. I believe it's only 2 over here, and then over on our left is where this glow board's going to be. We'll grab that up, and then we'll head directly back. Well, we got another ant back here if you'd like to take that down. And then we'll be able to drop down inside of this hole. Now, do be aware, you do want to make the right jump from this location because it is quite the pitfall down there. We'll want to make sure that we head over to the left and then jump down on this branch. Trust me, I've died enough to fall damage in this one area for me to be extremely cautious by this point. Especially when they were quite the simple areas to not fall down. But this is where the next Somber smithing stone is going to be. Now, as soon as we jump down, there's going to be another one of those bears, so be aware. Just run straight out of that waterfall. And try to get away as fast as possible. Now, from this location, we'll be heading back to the first Lost Grace that we were at. We'll need to spawn over there, and we're going to get the last secret from this area. Now, from that first Lost Grace... Goodness, I slowed this down a bit too much right here. But here in a moment... Well, come on. Let's keep the film rolling. How long did I make this? Good Lord. But as soon as we spawn in, we'll jump over to the right, and we're going to make it into one of these kind of secret caves over here. We'll jump off over onto this root system over here, get out that trusty lantern so we can see inside of here. And now there's going to be quite a few ants inside of here, so be ready. Now, the ones that had the, I guess you'd call it the queen or the egg sac, pop those immediately. They're just taking up space in that room. Nothing's going to pop out of them. You're essentially just going to have less room to work with how many ants that are inside of here. And these guys can spit, so do continuously keep moving. You definitely don't want to get hit by that. And they've got quite the bite that can stun lock you. You'll notice I've already died in this area. I think I died about 3 times. I thought there was going to be more ants coming out of that thing as soon as I popped it, but we'll actually be getting some of those, I forget the name of that rune, but it's about 15k, or yeah, 15k each time that we pop one of those runes, and we'll get one from each one of these queens, I believe. Now over on the left side, another one of those Somber smithing stones, chock full in this area. So if you needed some of those upgrades for weapons, this is going to be the perfect spot for you. Now, like I said, there's going to be more than a few ants. By this point, I just ran around popping those eggs. That way I had more room to breathe, a lot more mobility in this area. For whatever reason, I didn't kill the other 2 just yet. But at the same time, I thought it was one of those moments where if I did pop them, you know, more would fall down from the ceiling. But in fact, it's only a select amount. Now from this location, we'll be heading over to the left. There's going to be a couple more ants over here. I believe these will be the last 2 in this spot. And then we'll be finding a legendary spell out on this, ledge over here. Some type of faith spell, I believe. If you're somebody that's a spellcaster heavy on the faith ability, this might be something extremely useful for you. Not exactly sure. But from this point, we'll be portaling back to that main waypoint that I was talking about, the Nameless Eternal City, I believe it was. And from this position, we'll be able to head over to the right and actually grab up, goodness, what am I doing? You know, I made these a bit too long for their own good. But from this point, once we get there, come on now. Goodness, Reaper. We could have done better than this. Oh, God. Well, putting on my pants, guys. Over to the right, we're actually going to have a coffin over here that we can jump into, just like the one that we actually jumped into this area with, and it's actually going to lead us out to the Ansel River. If you've never been there, I believe at the end portion of the Ansel River, or Ansel River, not liver, it is going to be something of like an in-game type area. I ran through it, and at the very end of it, once I made my way through, I did end up in an area that I felt completely under-leveled for, and I got to a door that essentially had some writing outside of it from another player that said I required an Elden ring to enter. So, not exactly sure if that's true, but I'll be doing a guide on that area later on. But I'm leaving that a little bit for the future coming up, because I want to make somewhat of a linear guide. I don't want to immediately throw people to an area that they may be under-leveled for, you're just not ready for yet, and you can't complete it fully. It would just be a drag to have a guide that ended up at a doorway I couldn't open. It's one of those moments. But on that note, that's going to be the Deeproot Depths Guide. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope the armor set has actually helped some of you out. Maybe you haven't quite found some solid pieces of armor, but this is an extreme upgrade even for the suit of armor that I had previous to this. I'm going to be rocking this until I find something better. But if you'd like to see some of this content live, obviously hit that link down in the description. Follow me over at Twitch. And if you'd like to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. We're going to have plenty more of this coming forward. Like I said before, Capitol building is going to be coming up here in a few days, possibly 2 days. But before that, I'm going to try and work on the Volcano Manor. Hopefully that's going to be done by tomorrow. But there's quite a bit to that area as well. But the Capitol is going to be quite the maze. I've already done a small dive into it. It's going to be a hell of a one to edit, but we'll get it done over here. But on that note, hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one.